Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen, to Global Impromptu Speaking Session number 156. Thank you so much for joining in today and agreeing to make this meeting a success one. Today, our host, our topics master is Toastmaster Deepa Sampat Kumar. Thank you so much, Deepa. This is your maiden role. I welcome you warmly. Please welcome her as she's a first timer as the topics master today, and I'm sure she will give us thought-provoking topics, and we will be able to, you know, attend or respond best to our abilities. I will not take much of your time today. Again, we are going to manage our time by ourselves. We are all allowed to speak for 1 to 2 minutes, and plus 30 seconds as a grace period. Try to conclude as quick as possible in between the time limit, so we are able to manage everyone who is present right now. Right now we are 13 in number, but definitely more people are going to join very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together to welcome our host of today's meeting, the topics master of today's meeting, Toastmaster Deepak Sampat Kumar. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, DTM Amjad Ali. It's so nice to meet you all on this evening in Dubai and night for us in Bangalore. Welcome everybody to Global Impromptu Speaking. This is a place where extempores are made, and you can become a confident speaker. Try out all the topics that I give you out today. So I have themed the table topic session today as human emotions, exploring human emotions. So it will be centered on all the different emotions that we experience. And the word of the day is nettle. So I urge everybody to use the word nettle in your speeches. The word nettle means a herbaceous plant which has jagged leaves and it's covered with stinging hair. Or it could be a verb, which is the most appropriate way to use in our table topics: irritate or annoy someone. I was nettled by Aline's tone of superiority is one of the usages. So please remember, nettle means irritate or annoy. You can use it as Savita nettled me a lot. So something like that. You can use it in your speeches. Let me go ahead and start with the first table topic. I would ask for any volunteers, if there are any. Okay, Toastmaster Savita, your
Yes.
topic is on fear, the emotion called fear. Do not live your fears, but live your life. Do not live your fear, but live your life.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Deepa. My throat is nettling me since last few days, so pardon me for my voice. So, do not fear, live your life. Why do a person fear, or he or she has fear? Fear is always of unknown things. If we are not, and fear is an emotion which is given by nature to new one also. Fear and love, there are two emotions which are given. So fear of unknown, like when a person doesn't know what is going to happen or what is going to be the outcome, that fear disturbs a human being. And to overcome that, you have to experience, you have to go through that process, either yourself or you have to be in the company of someone who has gone through that and becomes your mentor or guide. Then the fear factor reduces. So, of course, from childhood, fears are there, so many fears. But when a child is with parents and teachers, and so many fears are removed from the life. But still, fear remains as an adult also because of so many factors. Either they are still unknown, or a human being is scared of failure. If I fail, then what? That question marks gives us a fear. But I think we should overcome those fears and get hold of our life. Let the failures become our stepping stone in life. And like a fear in our Toastmaster meeting also, for attempting these impromptu speeches. It's a big fear for everyone has. I think biggest fear they said it is. And we should overcome and live our life to fullest. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster Deepa.
Savita. Big round of applause to Toastmaster Savita. Very well spoken. Fear is always about the unknown. That's a very interesting point. And there's another one that I would like to add. There are two kinds of fears. One is rational fear, and the other is irrational fear. So maybe we'll have to choose what the fear is speaking to us. Is it rational, or if it's irrational, then pay attention to it. Okay, going to the next topic, I'd like to call somebody this time, and I would like to call Zainab. Zainab, are you ready?
Yes, I'm right here.
Your emotion to explore is jealousy. The jealous are troublesome to others, but they are a torment to themselves. The jealous are troublesome to others, but they are a torment to themselves.
Shall I start? First of all, I would like to wish a very good evening to all the speakers here. The topic given to me, the emotion given to me is jealousy. And the topic is that the jealous are troublesome to others and a torment to themselves. Is that right? I completely agree with this topic. I feel there was a reason envy was listed in one of the 7 sins. And I feel none of us here are free from this emotion. It's a very humane thing to feel. But how we reflect upon it and how we accept it. I feel the biggest thing when it comes to feelings is acceptance, because a lot of times we go in denial, and that does not really work out well for any of us. So accepting all our feelings, be it the positive ones, which is happiness and joy, and the negative ones, such as jealousy, grief, envy, we need to accept them and work on them and project them in a way that might not be tormenting for others and for ourselves. And I feel envy is such an emotion that I would be lying if I say that I never felt it. I feel that would be a straight up lie, but because you can be envious of anything and everything. A human heart is like a pot of hell. The more you fill it, the more desires will come up. You will always want more, and there's never a stop. And there'll always be someone better than you, and who'll be achieving more than you, or who'll be doing more than you. And you'll always look up to them and be like, oh, I wish I had that, or I wish I had that car, or I wish I had that house, or I wish I had that profession, or I wish I got that opportunity or the promotions. There's so many I wish I would have, that in all those I wish I would have, we forget about the positive things that we could, instead of being envious or jealous from others. At least this is the mindset that I have adapted, that instead of being jealous or envious towards others, we could appreciate their hard work that they have put in to get to that point in their lives where other people look at them and actually get inspired and jealous that I wish I could be at that level. And I feel this is one of the thinkings that I would like to leave everyone with today, that instead of feeling jealous or envious, because like the topic itself says, that it's a torment to yourself rather than more than others. So, and that's very true, because when you're jealous, you're always negative, because at that moment, your self-esteem has hit rock bottom. So anything and everything is glorified in your viewpoint. So rather than doing that, glorify others' hard work, but at the same time, don't put yourself down. You should always motivate yourself that, okay, if they have reached that milestone, I might not be able to reach that, and that's okay. But I have a different milestone for myself to achieve, and that's also okay. Because somewhere at some point in the world, there'll be someone looking at you and wishing, I wish I had that. So we should always be grateful, always count our blessings, and always inspire rather than get envious of others. And that would be it. Thank you so much.
That's well spoken, Zainab. I mean, you included so many other emotions alongside jealousy. Very well done. And seek inspiration instead of feel jealous. Well said. And one other thing I can point out is, jealous and envy. They sound very similar, one is a negative word and the other is a positive. So envy, it's okay to be envious, but it's not okay to be jealous. So with that in mind, let me go to the next speaker and I'll choose the next one again. Vibha, are you there for the next one?
Yeah, I'm here.
Good evening, Vibha. So your topic is on the emotion joy. There is no joy in life like the joy of sharing. There is no joy in life like the joy of sharing. Toastmaster Vibha.
I'll take 30 seconds.
Sure.
There is no joy of life. Excuse me.
You want me to come again?
Yeah.
There is no joy in life like the joy of sharing.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster, for giving me this wonderful topic. As I can say that there are many types of joy, and if we move toward positive things, we feel joyous every time. Sharing is a part of life where we share things, as many means physical things as well as virtual things or emotional things as also. We learn sharing from our childhood. When we are a child, we get lessons from teachers, our parents, about sharing things. And when we grow up, we learn to share, like to share emotions, to share books, to share many things. Nowadays, we are sharing screen as well, right? So if we cross the boundaries of positive things, we get joy and many positive vibes. Yes, of course, there is no joy in life like a joy of sharing. If we don't share, like if you are going somewhere and you see somebody is hungry. In India, most of the time we see many kids hungry or begging things at red light. At that time, we feel if we give our part, or if we give anything, whatever in our hand, that would be adding or multiplying uh, their joy of satisfying themselves, their hunger, their emotion, their any need. In that case, I can say it's like joy of sharing is much more better than joy of uh, much more better than any other thing. So sharing is yes, sharing is the biggest joy, and I can say thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster. Sorry, I
You
get
did very well. I mean, I like the way you started. You tried to define what is joy, and then you tried to define what it means to joy sharing. Very well done, Vibha. And I also liked how you put in sharing food to the hungry. You brought in that perspective. I really like that. So joy is something which when we give, instead of getting lesser, it gets multiplied. So joy multiplies itself as we give, and therefore joy uh, is a joy of sharing is always a good thing. Let me go to the next speaker, and I'd like to choose somebody called iPhone. May I know who it is behind iPhone?
Yeah.
Your name, sir?
I'm Sherman.
Sherman, your topic for today is kindness. Kindness costs nothing. Sprinkle it everywhere. Kindness costs
Yes.
nothing. Sprinkle it everywhere.
Madam Table Topic Master and Global Into Friends. And yeah, kindness. This is very essential word in this situation, the prevailing situation in the world. The whole world is facing the pandemic outbreak, and people need the kindness. And number of people lost their jobs, and they are some people are in the ICUs. I heard recently doctor said, doctor was in the ICU and the patients asking whether I can go home and see my children. So the doctor always says, yes, you can go. But that's the only word the patients can hear. Otherwise, they are alone, they are in desperate situation. They don't know what will happen in future or next day, the following day. So kindness is another thing people expect. Others also expecting. Even you are in a working place, you have to be kind. And when you're walking along the road and at home, and you have to be kind with your family members. Charity begins at home. And also, if you kind, your children also will follow the same thing and kind. If you have a kind-hearted person, if you donate something with kindly, and you get a return on that. And also, don't think about the return coming from the person you are supporting, but automatically the returns cause and effect is there. The people will get the return. And also, unkind people have no mercy. I think no, others are not respecting. So you have to have the kindness as personal branding, and then the others will respect you. Over to you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Big round of applause to Toastmaster Sherman. Well said. And I particularly remember that gratitude in kindness begins at home, that I keep getting told about that by my parents often. So let me go to the next topic, and I would like to give it to Toastmaster Ajay. He's our area director from District 92. Hi, Ajay.
Hi, Deepa.
Your topic is the emotion called apathy. So it's a quote by Jane Goodall. The greatest danger to our future is apathy. The greatest danger to our future is apathy. Toastmaster Ajay.
We're all living in a virtual world where it's easy for everyone to forget that personal connect. It was easier before that we could just walk up to a person's desk and just greet the other person. Now you literally have to pick up the phone or really ping someone. So we're literally living in a world where having that personal connect is becoming more and more difficult. And we're fortunate that we at least have a platform like Toastmasters where it's still easy for us to connect with each other. It's a platform where it's convenient for all of us to get in touch with like-minded professionals, like-minded people. And that's one of the reasons why I always say that Toastmasters for me is almost like a second home. So it's in a place like Toastmasters, I feel that we will never come across a situation where we would actually lose apathy. It's probably in the real world, we're reaching a place where it is possible for people to feel that. But at least in a platform like Toastmasters, where we're all together, we're all here for one common purpose, I don't think that will ever happen. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Ajay. A big round of applause to Ajay. And I admire the fluency with which you speak all the time. You have a particular twang. I had to mention it this time. Anyway, good try
Thank you.
on the topic. Let me go to the next speaker, and I'd like to choose Puneet. Puneet, are you there? Puneet, are you there? Okay, then I think there must be a tech glitch. I think next I'd like to go to Jatin. No, Indu. Indu. Indu, are you there?
Yeah, yes, I'm there. Yeah.
Your emotion, or let's say a sensation to explore, is hunger. Is a quote by Mother Teresa. It is easy to relieve the hunger for bread than to remove the hunger for love. It is easy to relieve the hunger for bread than to remove the hunger for love. Toastmaster Indu.
Okay. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Good evening to the Global Impromptu family. And so the topic given to me is that it is easy to forget the need for food, or the need for the hunger for food, but not for love. So yes, that's very true, especially in this pandemic times where we are all kind of isolated, and we are not able to meet our friends and family, or travel across to meet our people. And so all the more we feel the we feel we are not receiving enough love, because we are not able to physically meet them, greet them, and have those conversations with them. Though we have a virtual platform, we have Zoom calls, but still the physical, the personal touch is missing, and that is one of the biggest needs for human beings, to connect physically. And though we have for phone conversations, um, but the physical contact is missing. And that's why, as far as food is concerned, I mean, as long as we are able to have our 2 meals per day, that is enough. And sometimes we can even, we skip a meal, we fast sometimes, and we can still deal with it. But when we have a fight with our loved ones, and there is a certain emptiness, and we, as much as we may have those ego issues, and we may want to kind of sometimes punish our loved ones by not speaking to them. And we, at the same time, we also miss on love, we miss on that affection, we miss on the warmth. And that's why we, once we realize that, we let go, and then we bounce back, and then we try to go back to our normal selves, and just shedding the ego. And that is the wise thing to do, because that ultimately, the truth is that ego is just a false notion, and reality bonding between human beings and your loved ones. So that is my take on this. Thank you so much.
Great, Nandan, Indu, and I especially liked when you brought in emptiness, and I love the way you used it. Emptiness in the heart is much more difficult to fill in than the emptiness of the stomach. Well said, Indu. Let me go to the next speaker, Jatin. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Your topic, Jatin, is life. Okay, wait. I'll give one. Okay, what are you guilty about? What are you guilty about, Toastmaster Jatin?
Guilty, right?
Guilty. Yeah.
So good morning, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fellow Gavliers and Toastmasters. So my topic is that what am I guilty about? And the thing which I'm very guilty about is that one thing, the thing is that one time I have by mistakenly I wanted to buy one juice, but then I forgot to. I kept it in my pocket. I wanted to buy it, but then I forgot it was in my pocket, and I immediately went out. So that was only the one time which I felt very guilty about it. I was like very scared that maybe I might get punished or maybe like that. That time when I was 8 or 9 years old, I used to think that maybe the police might catch me or maybe somebody might arrest me, because I didn't knew that there was a juice in my pocket until I realized it in my house, in my home. And another thing is that cheating in the exam. So one time when I was in 7th grade, in 6th grade, that time we had like a normal school, no COVID. So that time somebody wanted to ask me for the answer for one of the questions, and they wanted to like cheat. They also said that if you give me one answer, I'll give you another answer. But then I didn't want it to do, because one thing is that whenever you cheat, your life will never get ahead. That is one of the common quotes. And if you cheat, you'll never get ahead. Most of my friends, one of my friends, he cheated in one of the exams and he failed for the whole exam because he got caught that he was cheating. So no matter what, now it's online, and it doesn't mean that you can't cheat. Nobody can catch you. Anybody can catch you, even your parents. Sometimes they come inside your house, your room when you're doing exams. I have so many friends who has tried to cheat during the exams, but then they got caught because their parents came. So whenever you never cheat, whenever you cheat one time, you have to always tell the truth that what you do. Because if you never tell the truth, that guiltiness will be there for lifelong. Thank you, and over to you.
Well said, Jatin. You make me relive my childhood. And yeah, especially when you cheat on an exam, pass an exam, that exam doesn't feel like an exam or success. And yes, the guilt stays forever. Listening to your conscience is the best way to go. Well spoken, Jatin. Let me go to Toastmaster Farida for the next topic. Your topic, Toastmaster Farida, is gratitude. It's the emotion gratitude. So the topic itself is thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Farida.
A very good evening to my global impromptu family members. Thank you. Gratitude. These are words which actually sting to my heart. They actually instigate a certain type of feeling, because I personally feel that the only being for which we should offer absolute gratitude is the Almighty. We can be thankful to each other. We can be thankful to Mother Nature. We could be thankful to our relationships, spouses, children, everybody for being in our lives. But who places them in these strategic positions? Who provides us with health when there is sickness? Who provides us with food when there is hunger? Who provides us with love in case of Hindu when we have that vast emptiness in our hearts? It's the Almighty. He is the one who propels things in our lives and takes away things in our lives. There's a famous quote, man proposes, God disposes. I'm a firm believer of that. And every single morning, actually, I attended a few yoga classes, and in those meditation yoga sessions, they teach you gratitude and they teach you home. It is run by a Buddhist community in Dubai, and they actually, that is the basis of Buddhism, gratitude. They are grateful every single day of their lives. And this is one of the lessons that the teacher taught me, that every day in the morning, when you get out of bed, you may not have time to do the stretching exercises, but you can spend a quiet moment and offer your gratitude to the Almighty for all the good things that you have in life. And believe you me, since I have started doing that, suddenly, dramatically, my days have become better. My mood has become lighter. My heart feels lighter. I feel less anxious if there is excessive workload, because sometimes you're running short of time. We live in a mad race where the work is of prime importance. So it's a mad race for achieving success, for getting good grades, for reaching the top, for climbing Mount Everest. It's a mad race everywhere else. But if you offer your gratitude every single day, believe you me, it keeps you grounded. It keeps you grounded to such an extent that you will thank every single thing for being there in your life. And you will know that if a certain incident has happened to you, it has happened for a reason. If a certain relationship comes into your life, it has come for a reason. So you will accept that relationship with open arms and open heart. If somebody leaves you in a mess, it's okay for a reason. So there you go. That is where gratitude comes into play. So gratitude is actually plays a very important part in my life since I have started following my yogi teacher's advice. And I would like to propagate it and advise every single one of you. And actually, sometimes when people complain too much and they just say, what do we have to be thankful for? What do we have? Look how many problems we have in our lives. Look how many problems we have in our relationships. Look how many financial issues we have or we are facing. But excuse me, these statements really nettle me in my heart. They really annoy me in my heart, because if you offer gratitude, you will always see the glass, the half full glass. You will not miss the half of the glass which is empty. You will be thankful for the glass which is half full. You will notice all the good things that you have in life instead of only focusing on the negative things of your life. And so be it. It's better to be happy with whatever you have around you and be thankful. Of course, I thank you all for being in my life and for inviting me over 3 times a week and tolerating my speeches. I thank you all for befriending me as well. So this is my take for tonight. Usually I tend to disagree with the topic, but tonight it's a take home. It's going straight to my heart. I'm totally relate to thankfulness and gratitude. With that, I end. A very good evening to everybody.
A big round of applause to our Toastmaster Farida. I mean, I couldn't agree more with so many examples that you gave, so many perspectives. And I'm in awe with the poise with which you speak and the layers and layers you bring to every topic. Very well spoken, Toastmaster Farida. I will now go to, I think, Toastmaster Amjad for the next topic. Are you there? The next topic? Toastmaster Amjad?
Yes, Deepa, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. Your topic, your emotion to explore is frustration. How do you deal with frustration in your life? How do you deal with frustration in your life?
Thank you so much, Madam Topics Master. How do I deal with frustration? I'm hearing this word for the first time in my life. I'm joking. Yes, this is common in everyone's life. Frustration is something when we expect something more than our abilities and that does not happen. That frustrates us. Over expectations. But in my life, honestly speaking, I do not expect much more than my abilities. I know my capability. I know my strength. I know I'm a person who controls nothing in my life. So why should I expect? I know people die. I know people broke. Why? People leave you. People ditches you. People love you. They like you. They do everything. This is what I have experienced in my last 40 years of life. frustration is something we bring into our life. We welcome it. It was not there in my life when I was quite young or before my teenage, because I was just free. When I expect relationships or expect something from people, and I know that that will not happen. But when I was quite young, I was in my teenage, I used to expect it and I used to cry. But now I feel like I understood, or I learned from mentors like you all, that no, life is something which is not in your control. Do not frustrate, do not panic. If something can happen, why to frustrate? Relax, it will happen. If something cannot happen, why to frustrate? Because it cannot happen. Relax. So, this is what we have learned from our life. Things go wrong, things go right. Enjoy every single bit. Enjoy the relationship with the people they are along, they are beside you. Then people who will come into your life are people are gone from your life. So this is what I understood from my life, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not perfect, nobody's perfect, but I try to manage my life in such a way that I am a quite realistic person. Reality is things go wrong, things go right. So frustrated is something I don't know in my life, ladies and gentlemen. Try to ignore frustration. Thank you.
Big round of applause to our Toastmaster Amjad. Did you all observe something? How he started the table topic? He first got out the humor, and then he also rephrased the whole topic. He said over expectation. He made the topic over expectation, and then he started elaborating. I really loved that technique, Toastmaster Amjad. Well done. And next, I would like to go with Toastmaster Puneet. Are you there? Are you ready
Yes,
for the?
yes,
Okay.
yes. Who's the timer? I'm sorry, I had to just came to the storeroom. That's why I was not able to
Okay.
listen. Who's the timer?
There is
Nobody.
no
Okay.
timer. We are self-timing.
You can
Okay.
time yourself.
Thank you, Farida.
So we are discussing emotions today as a theme of a table topic. So your emotion to explore is hope. What do you hope for? Puneet, what do you hope for?
What do I hope for? Okay. If you're not improving tomorrow, then why do you need tomorrow for? I vividly remember reading this beautiful line because I was stagnant, and I must say sometimes I do get stagnant in life. Thank you so much, beautiful, for the beautiful introspective table topic. What do I hope for is to be better every day. Now, it's not easy to be better every day. And let's be honest, always there's this inherent tendency of us. There's these two brains which are fighting between us. One side of our brain which want us to go and exercise, and the other part of the brain which says, just sleep for some more time. Yeah, why should you go and give your body that pain? Now, between this battle of minds, there are sometimes when good wins, and there are sometimes when not so good wins. And what do I hope for is to make sure that I give this a priority and not this one. But let's face it, we are all humans, and it's inherently there in our mind to be happy with the status quo. And what do I hope for is to be better every day. It doesn't happen. Sometimes I'm able to do really well, sometimes it becomes pathetic, extremely pathetic. There are times when I would sleep like Kumkarna for 14, 15 hours and I would get scoldings from my father. And there are times when I just sleep for 3 to 4 hours and get my work done, able to complete a lot of my books which I have to do, able to give up many evaluations in my Toastmasters meeting. But it's just a cyclic which happens. So what do I hope for is to ensure that I'm consistent. I'm still working on it. They say compound in benefits of it. But what do I hope for is to make sure that I say this lazy side of mine, just be quiet and encourage and give fodder to the good side of my brain, which tells me to be better every day. That back to you, Madam Table Topic Master. Hope you all have found your own better version. So let's strive to be better every day. And I read this beautiful snippet from an amazing book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, where the author says that if you become 1% every day, after a period of 1 year, you'll be 3,700 times better than how you were previously. So I think that is one thing which has logically hit me. And I'm sure one day I'll be the better version myself. And that is what I hope for. And I hope all of you out there are hoping for the same as well.
The fact that you're reading a book called Atomic Habits to Get Better itself proves that you are on your hope to get better every day. Well said, Puneet. I love the animated way in which you spoke. A big round of applause to Puneet. Now, the next topic goes to Samriddhi. Are you ready? Oh, hi, Samriddhi.
Hi, Deepa.
So your topic is your emotion to explore is embarrassment. Describe an embarrassing moment of your life. Describe an embarrassing moment of your life.
A second, I just think over an embarrassing. Yes. So it has a very funny and an embarrassing moment both. So I started into my journey as a into a boarding school in grade 11. So the thing was, by personality, I was known to be a very sincere, a very studious person, and also would abide by all the rules. So, and suddenly what happened was there was a roommate who in my hostel, no stuff was allowed. For example, you could not even carry a bag of chocolates or a chips to the hostel. So my roommate, what she does is, she wants to sneak in chocolates and a Maggie into our room. So what we are doing is, she is standing inside the room, I am standing outside the window of the room of the hostel, and we both are trying to sneak in this type of stuff. And so all of a sudden, our teacher on duty, whose favorite student was Samriddhi, who thinks that she is the most sincere girl of her school, she happens to be there, and I was like, what should I do now? So all of a sudden it was like that I had to simply run into my room, that she does not know, or I don't know, I was not able to face her. I think that is the most embarrassing moment which I am able to draw right now. I was a little nettled also with my roommate, because honestly, I was like that, what will happen if you won't eat a chocolate or you won't have Maggie? We do get all this stuff in the hostel. It's just that at the right moment or the right point of time, you would get the stuff. So I think that's all I have. Over to you, Table Topic Master. Thank you.
Thank you, Samriddhi. As it happens, these embarrassing moments are the sources of joy for us. Thank you for sharing that source of joy, and we could vicariously experience that emotion with you. A big round of applause to our Toastmaster Samriddhi as well. And I'd like to call on Pragya for the next table topic. Are you there?
Yeah, I am here. I'll try to speak something. Not sure if I can today. Okay, let's try. Yeah.
Pragya, we are exploring human emotions, and your emotion to explore today is respect. Respect is earned and not given. Respect is earned, not given. Toastmaster Pragya.
I believe this is one of the most powerful emotion that every person in humankind looks for. And for people like me, it's a very, very important emotion. So important that if I do not feel respected at a particular place, I can't stand it. And this respect is not only about me as a person. This respect is about how I believe in things, how I treat people, how I would want to take my life, my decisions, and so many other things. Personally, there have been situations in my life where I was not respected the way I should have been. And those situations have left me in anger, frustration. They've left me in situations which I would really not want to face. So for me, you can understand that the emotion of this respect is so powerful that all other emotions are correlated and connected deeply in that. One such incident was when I got married and I came to this house. I considered myself a family member. A woman considers herself a family member as soon as she enters a family. That's the beauty of how women are. When my family were discussing something, I thought I will put my point of view because I was aware about that situation. But I was told, you don't know, you're quite new in the family. So we would appreciate if you don't come in this matter and you don't speak in this matter. That day was 10 years back, but more than 10, in fact, 11 years back. But that hurt me so deeply that till now, I do not wish to voice out my only opinion or my ideas about anything which is being discussed in the house because my respect was hurt. I understand that at that point of time, they would have believed that probably I'm quite new. But even listening to an idea, even if you're not counting it in, even listening to what a person has to say draws a lot of respect for that person. So I would say that if you have somebody in your life who might be not aware of the situation but still wants to speak, understand that they are taking out courage for you. So respect that person. You want to consider that idea or not is perfectly your choice. But understand they want to be a part of your life and that is why they are doing it. So respect that emotion. Because if you don't do it, there'll be so many other emotions that the person will go through after this one thing has got hurt. Over to you, Deepa.
Big round of applause to Toastmaster Pragya. Well said. I mean, you are so expressive. You bring out those emotions. Even without the video, I could see how you probably were speaking. So well done, Pragya. Your voice just speaks a lot louder. Even without the video. And for the next topic, I'd like to call on Toastmaster Vandana. Vandana, are you there?
Yeah, I am here. I had to. My daughter was not letting me close the door. TV is blaring. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, Vandana. We're exploring human emotions. That's the theme for table topics. And your topic is we need a drop of hope to swim against an ocean of difficulties. We need just a drop of hope to swim against an ocean of difficulties.
Am I always going to be a stay-at-home mom? Does my career end here? Is this all that I am capable to do? I asked these questions to myself in 2019. And that's when I saw an ad on Facebook for a meeting, a Toastmasters meeting. I'd heard some of my friends being a part of it. And I thought, okay, my daughter has turned 1. Now it's time for me to get out of the house. I've got too comfortable and I felt that I was not myself. So I pushed myself to go and attend the meeting. As you know, Deepa, we had table topics and I won. That little win went a long way into making who I am today. A much more confident, passionate Toastmaster, a designer, and a bubbly mother. I was not any of these the day that I went to the Toastmasters meeting, but I left with small baby steps towards being the person I am today. There were many days that I thought, okay, how will I manage time? Should I go there? Is it too expensive for me right now? I'm not earning. Should I spend from my savings? I thought about it. And then finally, after almost 7 or 8 months, I finally decided to plunge in and become a Toastmaster. My first speech was at a humorous speech contest. I did not know how I mustered the courage and I went ahead and did it. I did a good job. Like people were laughing. I improved on certain jokes when I noticed everyone's. So definitely, I did not meet all the requirements of lesser hours, having the structure, but people laughed. And that laughter made me realize that yes, I can impact people with the way I speak. It gave me hope And I realized that this is who I am, someone who speaks, someone who expresses. And every small win, and you've been part of that journey, Deepa, you've seen me very closely as we prepared for contests, for, at the division, at the area, even for the club. We've nudged each other for preparing for ISC, for table topics. And I realized that even the club officer roles, all these things that we took up have impacted my life. Every small win, every small appreciation that I've gotten, even from my mentee, has given me hope, has given me that push to look forward and to become a better version of myself. So I truly agree with the topic, and I definitely feel Toastmasters has given me that platform. And today I have a job because of Toastmasters. So don't give up, work on the small little dreams and let them push you. Take the risk and just go and try, go and speak, and maybe you'll inspire someone like me today. Over to you.
Very inspiring, Vandana. I must say you inspire me a lot. And I do want to add that as much as you were hopeful and feeling hopeful of getting out of your bubble that you had created for yourself, we at Speech Weavers Club are hoping that you'll join us for the longest amount of time. Ask Shruti and Srinu, they'll tell you about it. Okay, for the next and final topic, I think I'll go to Ajay K. Ajay, are you there?
Yes, I'm there, Deepa.
Hi, Ajay. So your topic is trust. Trust takes years to build, seconds to break, and forever to repair. I repeat, trust takes years to build, seconds to break, and forever to repair. Toastmaster Ajay.
Good evening, all my Global Impromptu friends. I fully agree with Deepa and the topic that trust takes years to make, and it's a matter of seconds that probably you could break it. Trust, if you define trust, how do you define trust? That is very crucial, because trust is I believe in you or another person 100%. Trust is always 100%. There is no 99% in trust. If there's 1% doubt, it is not trust. So I am relying on an individual and another person who is in sync with me on an emotional platform, probably on some other aspects of life. He's 100% or she is 100% with me. And that's why I trust that if I require in any situation, that person would extend me a helping hand. I believe that trust is one of the most beautiful emotions, if I may say so, because I remember Helen Keller quote. She was blind, as you may know, and she used to say that sometimes the best and the most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. And trust is one such thing, I think. It is felt from the heart. It binds two individuals, two human beings. Why even human beings? It could be between human beings and animals. There's an element of trust. I remember that old story, I don't know, many of you may have heard it. It was about a flight where a young child sitting, maybe 7-8-year-old girl, sitting and enjoying herself reading a book. And then the flight suddenly enters a very turbulent weather. Everything is chaotic. Everybody's screaming, everybody's crowd. But this girl is pretty nice. She's listening to music. She's very chirpy. She's reading the, book and everything. And then eventually the flight comes out of the turbulence. It's like crashing, but still it safely lands. And everybody's screaming in joy. Yeah, wow, wow, fantastic. But this girl has no change of emotion. She still is the same, enjoying her storybook, singing and everything. The person sitting next to her asked her, you didn't feel scared when this flight was going berserk in the turbulent weather? And then even when you landed, you had no signs of joy, everything. You didn't feel scared? He says, why should I feel scared? The pilot of the plane is my father, and I trust him 100%. He would never allow me knowing well that I'm on the aircraft, let this plane crash. That is the element of trust, I think. And when you have that element of trust, you're the most relaxed in that relationship, because that's what binds. The moment it is broken, I think everything is over. Then it takes ages to build it up. Well, there's a long Hindi saying, but I would not like to say it here. But nonetheless, having said that, yes, if you break it, then there is that irritational value in relationships. If I may use the word of the day, once trust is broken, the relationship is a little nettling. So you don't need to nettle with that elements of life. Trust is 100%. If it is broken, I think it's gone, or maybe it takes ages to build it back. Over to you, Deepa. Thank you so much.
Wow, Toastmaster Jai, I mean, you floored us with the story, and especially the ending where you brought the girl's father as the pilot and complete 100% trust. Wonderful way to re-emphasize the point that I just mentioned. A big round of applause to Toastmaster Ajay. That brings us to the end of today's table topics segment, and I think I'll hand it over back to Toastmaster Amjad.
Thank you, dear Sir Deepa Sampath, for beautiful topics. Thank you so much, really appreciate it. Now it's your time to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, who would like to give a beautiful and interesting topic as she has given to us to Toastmaster Deepa? Who would like to give her a topic?
Toastmaster Amjad, may I?
Oh, yes, please. It's a TM Pragya, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you can turn your video on and please go ahead.
That would be difficult today.
Okay, let's do that. Let's go ahead.
Yeah. So Deepa, your emotion, if you have to tell, would be anger. And your topic is that anger is the worst emotion because it kills us more rather than killing others. Anger is the worst emotion because it kills us more rather than killing others.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pragya. I would like to disagree with it. I think, like all emotions that human beings face, it's very important to acknowledge that anger has its place in our lives. Why do we feel anger? Because we don't agree with something. We don't want to be treated a certain way. And we need to express our anger. We need to tell them, or whoever is treating us in a certain way or doing something that is not agreeable to us, we need to let them know this is not acceptable. And anger is a way to show it non-verbally sometimes. Anger, that tone of your voice changes, your words changes, your vocabulary changes, and you blurt out things and you make it a point and you make sure that the person gets the message. Much easier than just giving them a long lecture and telling them, hey, this is how I feel. You got to understand me better. Anger does the job more quickly, but I would say anger is like, has two faces to it. So it's good if you know how to handle it in a measured way, but it can go out of hand at times. And that's where we need to be cautious about. So when you realize that you can go offhand and you can go hyper, that's when you need to probably stop where you feel you're going overboard, or react slowly. If you think that anger is one of your weakness, then don't react for some time, introspect, and then in a much better frame of mind, express your anger. But I think it is vital, very important to express anger in any day given. But it's just that how you express your anger, how measured way you bring it out, that is more important. Toastmaster Pragya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pragya and Toastmaster Deepa. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how we conduct our table topic sessions, our global impromptu speaking sessions. Today, the host was Toastmaster Deepa Sampath Kumar, all the way from India. Deepa, thank you so much for making another success, which was 156th success at Global Impromptu Speaking Session. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together to thank her warmly for entertaining us with interesting topics. Thank you, Toastmaster Deepa.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, and I personally would love to hear you again as topics master, because your topics are very interesting, very interesting. Thank you so much. With that power vested in me as a host of this meeting, I adjourn the meeting. Please stay blessed wherever you are and keep your society safe.